Hello and welcome to the second part amongst this video using simple math to make trades amongst the crypto mechanism and the crypto market using this mechanism which sells a very large amount of what you own, but enough, not too many, that you won't be able to participate in large gains when cryptocurrencies get out of control. This mathematical amount was designed for such a case, and the reason why I decided to sell, and I probably should have wrote 100%, which is the same as all, at the market doing 5x on a final stage, the final step, the final level of like a video game. And really, this is what this is. This is putting parameters into how market decisions are made. And with the buyback, I'm going to go over this as I move into the spreadsheet. But it is designed in a way that when markets rise very large, they have to pull back big, which is why I would feel confident in even selling out all of a particular coin if it was even able to finish the 6th level. And be very confident that a pullback of losing 3/4 of its value is normal. Now, within the buyback, this is a very difficult situation, and to be done better would be better in a more advanced situation. I'm not going to be going over the formulas for if you understand the advanced mathematics to follow, then I would advise thinking of the type of formulas that you could use to do such. Because when we bring the spreadsheet up, this is what we were seeing has all the buys and sells. And this is when it got to level 6. Now what we can notice is the right hand column is how many Bitcoins would come in on a sale. And on the left, how many would go out. And I think it's fine to sell for extreme amounts at these high levels, for this is what the whole profitability site system is to do, is to get as much profits as we possibly can. But when you look at the buybacks, you buy 12% of a Bitcoin to 8%, then 5 to 3. One of my thinking is when you make it to these higher levels, that you'd want to allocate a little less on original buys and then allocate those to buy at even cheaper prices, thus using a more advanced mechanism to actually gain more of these tokens on the buyback situations. It's also designed to automatically profit take, as we can take a look in here when your last sale netted a point, 17. This is the sale here, this is a buy. It netted 0.17 on a buy, or sell rather, and then you got about 12% back. So this is a 0.05 instant profit you can use for something else. And considering that's what you put into this coin, you could use that profit to enter another coin. You could use it to maybe sell on the market against the dollar, then play the market that way. You can use it for real money. You can use it to buy precious metals. You can use it in so many ways. But I wanted to make sure within this mechanism that those situations are going to come into place. That every time you get sales and the buybacks, you're going to get more of the tokens and then a little bit of profit taking along the way. Thus, one of the plans in this game is when you start with something like 5,000 and you have enough up and down choppy action, that you can get your numbers a lot higher when you get some of the very good buybacks in place. So you can start with 5,000 and next thing you know, you could have like 15 or 20,000 along the way. So the overall profit right now has a bankroll of 0.293, which is almost 6x of a gain. And when you started with 1,000 of this item and it's priced at 23.86, that means you're 2.386 times your gain, significantly lower. Also notice within such that when the market was at its highs at 26,000 plus Satoshi, that it was up 26 times if you were hodling. And we started with a 0.05 and this got to 0.5. So by doing such, there's a 10x gain. which means when you buy and sell like this and the markets go straight up, you're always going to underperform what the buying and holding will do. And when I say always, it should certainly be always, unless there's some amazing extreme pullbacks along the way. But outside of that, you should always be underperforming it. But there's nothing wrong with playing a market that goes up, having a 10% or a 10x gain, and seeing just your wallet itself is worth 0.38 at that time. I mean, that's phenomenal that you just have that much cash. And you just, again, when you have that much cash, that's why I'm thinking instead of or buying this at 0.12, maybe you buy it at 0.1. And then you can maybe buy this maybe at the 0.8, then maybe here at 0.6, 0.39, and then, or just a bunch of higher numbers that way to distribute those orders. Again, that would take more advanced mathematics amongst the situation. So we were back to December 12th, year 2017. I'm at that stage right now. So the last situation was that of a sell order at 23.50, which moved it up to the third level of the game. All of the orders are in and should participate in what would be the December rally 42.57 sale. We are on level 3. So level 3 means selling 40% of what we own. So therefore we'll put in $2,200. Moving to level number 4, which means after level 3, we do a 0.65. Once subtract the number, multiply the current price by such, and that's the buy order. That comes in at 27.67, and I'm just going to verify that we have our next sell order in place. And what we're going to do is we'll take the 42.57 and we're going to multiply it by 2.25. Which is 95.79. So we'll lower it just a little bit. And we're going to be waiting and waiting. It might hit. After all, we're now into the middle part of January. You might have missed this high. And that's going to be part of the game. And obviously, some are going to hit nice highs for you. Some will not. And I figure there's not going to be many trades here. But a lot of this is the waiting game. Playing this for like 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years with this choppy action can be so wonderful. But here you are going months without a trade. Finally a buy at 27.43. We're buying off of level 4, so we're taking the 1.35x from the last trade. And we're going to round it. That's already rounded. 29.7 and reduce it to level 3. Buy orders are already in. The sell orders have to be adjusted at this time frame. So in a level 3 situation, we're looking to sell for the 80% gain. And I'm just going to do one at a time. Normally you do them all. You can put all your orders in all the way up to the final stage if you wish. And then, of course, when an order comes in, you just redo the orders to how they should be. Of course, in spots like this, your older buy orders do not need to be changed. So 27.43, and we're looking at, with level 3 again, I think it's 80%. Yep, 80%. Just want to make sure again. 1.8. So that's 49.37, in which you'll be putting an order in, and four basis points off. So then we'll just continue on moving the market and see what happens. It's going down, but not enough to buy. Going up, not enough to sell. At least not yet. Looking close, but not quite. And this is what I'm also talking about, is when you can see you're on a decent level, but you have lower level volatility, you could almost change yourself manually, decrease the level. Of course, when you are your own trader, you are in control of your own risk, own reward. For me, risk reward management is always job number one. So here we are into June. Now, I didn't think there'd be that many trades. I was actually thinking there'd be like 5 or 6. Missing that sell really did change things. 17.98 buy. And we're coming off a level 3, so we're doing the level 2 buy of 1.25 times the amount that was sold. So 1.25 multiply, and it's this buy back in here. So we're just going to round that to 29.30, which would then move us to level 2. You would then put your orders in. I'm not going to do that in this situation because this should be the final trade of everything, given that it's the start of the second week of July, and we are late in June in this, and the markets really haven't been doing much as it is anyway. So let's just play it through. It's been going down, but nothing to hit any type of buy orders, obviously. So as a trader, you'd be lower from your last buy, waiting to buy next at 1,032. And then, of course, because you would be in a situation here on level 2 from the 1798 level, you'd be looking to sell, of course, on a 50% gain. So at 1,800, you take half of that, 950. Or 900, 1,800, well, about 2,700. So that's where you'd be looking to sell. And then you do nothing until you get to that situation. And it's just a waiting game. When you are trading in situations like this, you not need to know about the news. In fact, if you need to know about the news, you have to be able to know about it early enough so that you are able to make the well-timed plays. And that in itself is a difficult job, one that a lot of people either don't have time to do, as well as the ability to do as well. But at the same point, it could also have to pay somebody to do it, and those costs, well, maybe that it's just not worth it. What I like about these types of videos is this gives people an opportunity to get to what I would consider very good premium information. It's like going to a seminar where if I were to do a 2-hour seminar with stuff like this, providing, of course, a very good whatever page printout to explain situations, show these graphs and these points, and even have like accounting style columns and ledgers available so that people could manually even write it in. Of course, instructions on how to use a spreadsheet upon this, and even providing a base spreadsheet so that it can automatically determine what the buy orders and sell orders are, tell you what they are. To me, I mean, obviously in this, I'm not giving you any handbook, or I'm not giving you any software, which is something that a lot of people should be able to do themselves anyway. But this information would probably go for a decent cost and be a very good value for people. But we're living in a world where getting good information, sometimes even kick-ass awesome information, you can get for cheap to free. All I do is I put my information out, and my only revenue sources is that from ad revenue and that of the cryptocurrency gifts in the more information box. And I thank you for everyone who has helped out this way, but it's also a time where these options for getting free, cheap information is available. For we are going to be living, I believe, at this pretty close to current time in our lifetimes. Even if you're 70 and you're 75 and you're very healthy, you got a good chance of seeing a lot of this develop through, I think. Although you'd only be able to see it by just watching if you wanted to. That is how school and education is going to go through a major change and collapse type cycle. First of all, on a financial level, the student debt, which is very, very large. That is going to become very problematic. And when we encounter technological unemployment in the situation that we are, supply and demand situation, where we look at the amount of employees, workers that are needed versus how many are coming out of the factory or that of college and universities, it's going to create a very interesting situation. Now, as far as individual costs for students, do we really need students to have to travel very far directions to get, even for very rare classes, for amazing education? When we're in a day and age where great philosophers and teachers can educate, and this can be shown worldwide, where people will be able to even participate in such via live streams. It's an amazing world that we're living in. We're in a day and age where the big meetings that could be taking place, where people would have to fly and drive several large amounts of time, can be done without having to do so. Where some boardrooms have 3 or 4 people, another one has 2 or 1 person, and so on and so forth as we are going through changes. So a lot of the education, a lot of these sort of things are coming into place. We're at a time in this world where it seems when 1995, 96, 97 started and the internet became what was just new, I was thinking the internet was going to bring the people together. And it really has done quite the opposite in such. And as I'm explaining about this, like how you can educate without even having to leave your house. You can do this in your basement because of how technology is today. And the way we have within our cell phones, everyone seems to be looking down and texting and pushing playing video games and playing on their apps and watching YouTube videos while they're on the street. People looking to go for Wi-Fi, and everyone's on a table instead of talking with each other and putting the music players of the day on, would go on there and just do what they're doing. And if they want to put music on, they put their headphones in and they got tunes on their phone, of course. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly how it really is, but it kind of is a lot different in today's day and age as it was in the previous millennium or in the 1900s. So I find that an interesting aspect. All right, so yeah, for myself, I've been doing spreadsheets since I was in like grade 10. And in high school, I mean, if you looked at it, if any of my high school teachers that taught me, especially like my grade 11, 12, and 13 accounting teacher, Chris, if you're watching this, I know you're not surprised, and please get into cryptos. And even my like 7th, 8th, and 9th accounting teacher, Joe, I've already talked to you about cryptos already. So I've taken a lot of accounting classes. I've done really, really well. And this is the type of information that I've been able to learn to be able to demonstrate this, of course, within this type of method. I just look at the classes again that I took. I took a computer game where you just use software. I forget what the name of it was called, but that's when I first used a spreadsheet in grade 10. I took typing in grade 9 and 10, an entrepreneurship class in high school. I took 2 extra math classes, or 3 even, that I didn't have to take. I took a finance class, again, a lot of different classes of this nature. And to me, we're in a world where there can be a lot of profits made at this time as we go through turmoil within the fiat currency. And due to the fact of all these type of classes, and when I had all of these elective courses where you could choose what you want, and it was always computer math based, like every single time, every time. And to never learn fiat currency through any of those classes in college. And I remember looking back at an economics textbook that I took in, well, year one of a regular college. And I did very well in that class. But I don't remember the day, and there was only one page where that they talked about fiat currency. And within that textbook, it stated that the humans need, or the population needed to basically faith back the system, for if it is not, that would basically not be good times. That was written in about a 5-sentence paragraph. And then the actual total amounts about it was about 3/4 of a total page. It wasn't much. So obviously it wasn't taught in school, and probably for good reason, because if people were to figure out the fraud, the greatest fraud I think in human history, the fiat debt note currency system, then it wouldn't survive as long. But now it's been 10 years, people figuring it out, and we have a speculative cryptocurrency market. Very, very speculative. But I'm going to be doing a video soon about Bitcoin going to zero, and I not only predict that it will, but I guarantee you that it will. And I'll define zero as whatever money is at the time, then it's basically nothing to that. And nothing means that like you would need, like at this day rate, you need like several amounts just to buy a pizza slice. But let's face it, the chances that it goes to nothing anytime soon to me is quite laughable. If I were to be given odds on Bitcoin prices, will we see $20,000 again in the next 5 years, let alone the next year or two? And I'm getting even odds on some sort of bet, which means I'm always going to take what I think will happen. Then yes, I will. And another example of such is, do you think Bitcoin will go to $1,000? And I'll give you 20-1 odds saying that it will in the next 5 years, or not the next 2 years even. And I probably would take it at 20-1, but I wouldn't take it at even odds because I don't think it's going to. But if I'm getting 20-1 odds and it's 5% the bet scaling, but in this case, yeah, I'm using it as a reference just to state that the chances that it even goes up to, say, 75,000 by the end of the 2020s, I think is phenomenal. And on a 50-50 bet case where I have to make a wager on a yes or a no and I want to win the game, oh, I'm easily taking yes. Easily. If I get 1 point for being right and 1 point for being wrong, kind of, or lose 1 point for being wrong, easily. So in situations like such, the volatility is extreme. It is totally extreme. So this is why I want to profit from it. Because when I use the example of the stock market, when it had extreme gains, if you get to like level 5 plan long-term, level 6, well, that's because of inflation. But there's no such thing as inflation that's going to come in, at least not till the deadly end of the currency, and that isn't happening at least anytime soon. It happened over so many years. These gains I'm talking about ones that happen over weeks, months, and years. Or into the year, within the year, really. Because when we look at this, super long term, super duper long term, we got to expect that there's going to be decent up and down price moves. So when we have situations with just this little intraday, and when I say intraday, I mean just a few periods within the time frame I'm looking at, going from 3,000 down to 2,000, that meant there was a lot of opportunities to pick away at markets. And then when you have the alt markets that shot up even higher during this time, and then shot up down pretty hard, noting the fact that when all of this was going on back then in Bitcoin, prices going up, altcoins against the dollar were pretty much going sideways and in some cases even going lower, which meant they were getting crushed against Bitcoin. And then trading, of course, the influxes of the two worked out that all of these great sales you were getting, you're able to be buying back, of course, within these types of trading systems. And what I'm going to be talking about, mainly about it going to zero, is the realistic situation. One, it's got to survive as a system of money. Competition is its biggest threat at this stage. When you look at the problems with Bitcoin, fiat currencies share similar problems, with theirs being very destructive in a debt-based economic model. But with situations of other new ideas, advancements, and with an evolution/timeline, when creations get made, especially from their infancies, from their original days, they get improved upon. So we're dealing with situations where Bitcoin could go to, well, basically nothing because of something better that comes in that totally destroys it, something that maybe is unimaginable today, but foreseeable in the not too distant future. And of course, like gold and silver is always going to be one of its competition as it stands right now. And then the next level is money's got to survive. For if the world ever does move into anything similar to like the zeitgeist movement, resource-based economy, then Bitcoins would no longer be needed. That would be a totally different kind of world. Thus, Bitcoins would pretty much not be worth money because money would not be such a thing. And if humans survive this planet and have money stay alive and Bitcoin all the way through, well then at some point humans are guaranteed not to be on this planet. Which means that that's where my guarantee comes in. Because after the fact, I can say 22.75 million years from now, there's probably well less than a 1% chance that Bitcoins will be still around, let alone 74.9 quadrillion years from now. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.